How you doing, Steph? Let me introduce myself. My name's Tim. We have some mutual friends, people that I respect quite a bit. We also have some mutual... I have a friend that you don't like very much, Roger the Dispatcher. He's a good guy. I think he was playing with parody when he was talking about The View. I think the point he was trying to make is this. There are so many bright women out there, intellectually driven, smart, logical ladies in media. Why are these four talking about politics on television? I mean, doesn't it seem like maybe like bringing Madeleine Albright on, or Condoleezza Rice, or many of the female world leaders we have in the world, and politicians, Nancy Pelosi, or a Barbara Boxer, or a Libby Dole? It wouldn't make sense that if you want to get your information about politics on somebody from television, wouldn't it make sense that somebody as bright as Barbara Walters wouldn't pick those four idiots? And they're not real bright, and the depth of their knowledge is pretty piss poor. I resent them all. I don't care if it's a pretty little Christian girl giving her opinions, or Rosie O'Donnell, because there's no depth. They don't understand exactly what it is they're talking about. And even if by chance maybe they do understand bits and pieces of it, it's pretty apparent to me that they allow their emotions, their loyalties toward their different political philosophies, jade their logic. And it's intellectually honest. And Steph, I'll be honest with you, I didn't know a lot about you. I watched a bunch of your vlogs, and I'm afraid you might be guilty of the same thing. And this is why I say this. Your rants about George Bush and the war, I think probably are intellectually dishonest. And the reason I say this is that you don't look at the whole picture at all. You ignore many things. There were some statistics thrown out on your page about, basically what you were saying is the per capita death rate in Iraq has doubled since the invasion. Well, according to what? According to Saddam Hussein's statistics? I mean, if you were Shia and not Ba'athist, then you weren't really even included in the population numbers of Saddam Hussein. So does that even count? So if the majority population that was being suppressed by the minority Sunnis, since 1917, pretty much. I mean, there were a couple Shia incursions where they took power for a half a decade or so until the Western powers ensured that the Sunnis jumped back in there, because that's what Western powers did in the 20th and 21st century. Well, I think it's dishonest. I think it's also dishonest to assume that this conflict isn't something that's gone on for 1,400 years. It certainly has. Well, that's dishonest, maybe 1,320 years or so. But the Shia-Sunni split, the Assyrian, Babylonian, Aryan conflict, they've all been killing each other for, millennia. So it doesn't matter whether you want to call them Persians and Arabs, or Sunnis or Shia, or you want to call them Aryans or Babylonians. It doesn't matter. These guys have been killing each other for quite some time. And the Shias down south in Iraq are an extension of that Shia culture. I'm not saying good or bad. I'm not blaming either the Shia or Sunni side for that conflict. But this isn't a new conflict at all. Did our invasion, not just ours, there were 40 nations involved, let's remember that. Did the 40 nations that decided to be part of this, and I think it was more, but there were 40 nations that actually had troops there. I think there were actually 78 nations that supported it, either financially or diplomatically. Did they open up a civil war that has been responsible for killing many people? Certainly they did. Is that good or bad? I don't know. I'm one, I don't live there. Two, boy, it's such a complicated thing. I mean, there's socioeconomics going on, there's politics going on, there's religion going on, there's so many things going on. To simply point fingers at George Bush and say this is your fault, well, I think that's foolhardy, and I think it's intellectually dishonest, and that's why I believe that you're blatantly partisan. I mean, if your agenda is, for instance, pro-choice or environmentalist or gay rights or whatever it is, I can totally understand somebody being partisan, saying, well, in my self-interest, I'm going to vote for this guy or this girl for that reason. That makes sense to me. It doesn't make sense to me at all to start jumping on things that are a motive for the sake of it, especially when this is a bipartisan fuck-up. I mean, the isolation of Persia has been policy of the United States since Carter, pretty simply. What fascinates me is I wonder if you bashed Clinton in the same way when he sent 400 Tomahawk missiles into Baghdad, or when he blew up a medicine plant in Afghanistan, or when he did absolutely nothing about Al-Qaeda blowing up 2 American embassies in Africa, or trying to blow up the World Trade Center in '93. Nothing. I mean, not even a reaction, basically. I guess my interest is really not about those things, but boy, how bad the military, it's just some of the fucked up things that happened in Bosnia, and whether we belonged in that conflict either, because basically what you had the same thing. You had a slaughtering, murdering dictator that was committing basic genocide, and although Hussein was killing Arabs down south, they were still Shia, so it was still ethnic murder based on, not ethnic murder, I'm sorry, it was cultural murder based on what they believed and that they didn't like the Baathists. So, what Milosevic did and what Hussein were doing, kind of the same. Not just kind of the same, exactly the same. So, I guess my question is your rage for Bill Clinton the same as your rage for George Bush? Burn Victim 77, I don't know if you watch him, real bright guy on YouTube here, and he made it was kind of satire, but he did a vlog one time, and he was jumping on people that were saying impeach Bush, and he was saying, no, time out. If you're going to impeach Bush, you can't stop there. You have to impeach all of them. This was overwhelming majority, 99-1, in favor of this action. And I guess the question I have for you is that, are you equally as incensed at Hillary Clinton and John Murtha for not reading the intelligence report at all before we invaded Iraq? That pisses me off. Does it piss me off that information and propaganda was manipulated to get the American public behind this war, from not just the administration, but from Congress? Oh yeah, it does. It annoys me that on both sides of the aisle, I certainly recall and have seen many, many videos of Nancy Pelosi perpetuating the exact same points of view that Bush was in regard to her support of the war in Iraq, and then she turned around and said, well, they lied to us. Did they? I mean, they gave you the intelligence report, and you certainly had the opportunity and the staff to look at that information and assess, the kind of time that she has spent in Congress, and the kind of time, and Hillary Clinton was on the Commission for Defense in the Senate. Certainly they had things available to them that could have made them say, this is kind of contradicting some things that I know, but they didn't, because it was politically expedient. And I guess my question, Steph, is, are you as incensed at the Democrats as you are at the Republicans for this?